Yeah. Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyim Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your spiritual teacher, under your husband, the way you're supposed to be, in silence, and have come back to the fold. Shalom. Right. So this your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson, and it says the true victims of bloody Bashin. Right. So notice this. I had to did a trip going north Arizona with my son, and I seen this, and I was like, bloody Bashin. I wonder why they named that road. Why would you name a road Bloody Bashin? So I went and looked it up. It's where the Yavapai, right? It says there are many stories, which is BS. There ain't no such thing as many stories, because this is a way Esau get to say, well, some people say this and some people say that. Well, we don't really know what happened. No, you know exactly what happened. You don't name it Bloody Bashin unless somebody did a bloody Bashin, right? Right? And that's really ultimately what it is, because you know what I mean. You got to read between the lies of Esau, right? So it says some bashing. Oh yeah. There are many stories surrounding how Bloody Bashin got its name. No, it's not. You're lying. Some say that it's from the mass slaughter of sheep during the Range War, right? So that in itself lets you know that they know what it is. And it's not, oh, there's a story here. There was a war going on. So you're telling me that, okay, there you go. There's a war going on. Now that we know that there's a war going on, let's keep going. Some say that 7 Navajo virgins were sacrificed there by Geronimo, which they didn't even get down like that. So doesn't make sense. And never have you ever heard about Geronimo sacrificing any. You heard him killing about a bunch of them goddamn Edomites, but you never heard him killing his own people, which don't make sense. So now he sacrificed 7 virgins, which absolutely makes no sense, right? Okay. Those who've done research, so you do know. Those who have done research find that it was due to a massacre at the battle. Let me see that name. Trudent. How do you say it? Terret. And it says, definition of Terret: a small tower on top of a large tower, or at the corner of a building or wall, typically a castle. So you have a thing called Cliff Castle. And so the natives actually have a castle that's in the cliffs out over there. So now you're reading between the lines, okay, because it's a thing called Cliff Castle Casino, because that's their casino. Cliff Castle Casino, right? So the natives had a castle over there. Gad had a castle over there. So now we're reading between the lies and the lies, lines and then the lies, the lines and lies. And obviously there was a war at this castle, on the corner of this castle, right? It says, peak. Yet most of these have written that it was Tonto Apaches that were massacred there. And I believe that. That makes sense. It's their castle. Obviously, they were at home at their castle. Right? Let me see. They give you some BS story. Okay. So says early March 1873, a band of Tonto Apaches attacked and killed a party of 3 whites. Which that's a lie. You're not white. You're Esau. You're the one who's red, right? You're Edom. Esau, Edom. You're the one who's red. Killing all 3, but torturing one before he died. According to Macha Zora H. Nixon, they took him up to a sheltered spot among the rocks, stripped him of his clothes, tied his hands behind his back, fastened his feet together, and commanded to torment him by shooting arrows into his naked body. Do not sound like anything natives would do. You know what I'm saying? Don't make sense. Taking care not to hit a vital spot, which don't make sense. Let's see. Let's see. What was that thing I said? Yeah. Okay, it says, right here. The soldiers were ordered to quickly crawl to a position directly across from a cliff that the Indians, which is a byword, basically. The Lord said you will be called proverbs and bywords. That's a byword, and that byword actually means savage, right? But the Edomites, right, who you were in war with, are the real savages, right? It says we're living in. So tell you that Cliff Castle, right? Because it says that thing is a corner of a castle, right? Matter of fact, let's see how they say that name. turret.
Turret.
Turret. The turret. The corner of a castle on a and they have the thing called Cliff Castle Casino, right? So they have a castle up there. So they were on their turret. So this basically what this means. And it says that these soldiers were ordered to quickly crawl to a position directly across from a cliff that the Indians were, which is a proverb by word. You're not Indian, you're Gad, right? Were living in, and at dawn they attacked the natives. Were so taken. Watch this. This is what a lie comes in at. They were so taken by surprise that they panicked. Many of them jumping, which I don't believe that's so. Many of them jumping off the mountain. What's this name?
Precipice.
Precipice. It says a precipice is a very steep rock face or cliff. Like I said, it's called the Cliff Castle Casino. They have out there, especially a tall one, right? So to certain death below those, I believe they pushed them off. They did the thing that King David did to the Edomites, right? And they pushed them off the cliff to their death. Because when you read between the lines, there were already a war going on, right? So it wasn't like you just accidentally just so happened that, because that's the way they're making it seem like they just so happenly walk by and seen them and go, oh, those. No, you knew exactly where they were at. You knew what you were doing. You know what I mean? So it says certain death below those who resisted. This why you how you know that they were pushing them off, because it said those that resisted were quickly killed. So resisted what? Jumping off the cliff? Most likely, those that resisted from jumping off the cliff were quickly killed. That's what really happened. So now they're gonna come into their BS right here. Or surrendered. So even if you surrender, you were quickly killed. But they're gonna make it sound like surrendered, right? Estimates run between 26 and sitting there, no such thing. You know exactly how many people died or you killed or whatever that was going on. You would have to know that, right? So they're giving you estimates. I'm just estimating, like you're picking apples or some shit. These are fucking people. You know what I mean? And not just any people. These are the children of the Most High God, Yahweh Bashin, Yahweh Shai. So it says, estimate between 25 and 57. So if you're just estimating, how do you between 25 and 57? How do you even come up with that? That doesn't even begin to make sense. Indians killed, with many more injured. So even if you were surrendering, you were fucking being injured. So that's BS, man. No soldiers were killed. See? They waited while they were asleep. and they woke them up out of their sleep and pushed them and made them jump off the edge. That's why it says that there's many stories, and then some people will write that the Tonto Indians were the victims, but then they try to throw in the story about the white people, so it can make it seem like the white person was the victim. Now, if you're a white person and you read that, automatically you're gonna go into no, those 3 white men were the victims, right? Forgetting that you're on stolen land and all this shit belongs to them. See, but a white man will tell you this shit like, you're on. Boy, do you know this is Texas? I'll kill you dead for stepping on my property. Well, this whole fucking United States is their property. Can't they kill you dead for stepping on their property? So it's good for you to say that, but not for them to fucking kill you? So who's the victim? The victim will be the person who, this is my goddamn land. You're stepping through my property and you don't have no reason to be over here. Yeah, I should be able to fucking kill you. Right? But hey, that's the thing they want to make you believe and look at this thing, and most likely who gonna look at it like that is mostly just white people or people who's in that Edomite supremacy mind state. Self-proclaimed white people, should I say, Salakia. Self-proclaimed white people, because you proclaimed yourself to be white. Even in this time, what it says, 18 something, I don't even know if they were even declared white at that time. Right? You're self-proclaimed white people. But it says, oh, okay, thrilled by this victory so that you were in war with them. It's not a victory unless you know you were in war with them. Because over here, you made it, who is that? Because they made it seem like they were just fucking taking a fucking stroll. Where's that thing at? I've seen it somewhere. Where's that thing at? Salakia. Hold on, let me find it. So they trying to pretend like they just accidentally walked into this whole thing. It says publicly the army said that they were after the Tonto Apache, particularly they were not going to be too particular when it came to tribes. They thirsted for revenge, and any red man would do. Right? Hear that? Esau, Edom, man. Hey, you got a judgment, man. Those Israelites that you killed were actually Gad, and you're the actual real red man because you're Edom, and the Lord's gonna, hey man, you're in trouble, man. You touched the apple of the Most High's eye, man. And it says, evidently they came across a group of Indians. They just happily come across, but then in the beginning they said there was a war going on, there's this, and then they call it the battle. It's not a battle unless we're both fighting, because according to this, they said they surprised them, and some of them jumped off the cliff, but we know that's a lie. And The other ones were basically shot and killed, and whatever. Basically, even the ones that surrendered were killed. But the two got. They said some of the men got medals of honor. Well, you don't get medal of honor unless it's a war, it's a battle. But yeah, you said no so-called soldier got killed, and basically they didn't have a chance to fight back. So that's not you didn't really have a battle. So this is now saying that evidently they came across a group of Indians, which is a byword, like I said, at the Terret Peak, right, which basically means a castle corner of the castle. The Indians were cooking mescal and deer and preparing for a celebration. See? So they're like, oh yeah, we just la 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 la. Oh, look at those Indians. They're preparing for a celebration. I think we'll kill them because any Indian will do. Because we're thirsty to kill the children of Israel, and we know that you are. Right? And then that's when you come into this, oh, we just went in there and they jumped and they just jumped off the cliff, and we were thirsty. Any Indian would do it. It doesn't matter. Any red man will, any so-called, which basically, in reality, you would say any Israelite would do to kill him. Yeah, this is Deuteronomy 33 and 20. And of Gad, right, which is the so-called North American Indians, which vocab can't understand, because he was saying, how can Gad be one tribe, and then Gad is all the so-called Native Americans across everything else, and then you just have Reuben, which is the Seminole Indians. And how is that possible? So this is the scripture that lets you know how that's possible. It says, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. Right? Matter of fact, let's look up that enlargeth Gad. So it says Deuteronomy 33:20. And it says, and of Gad he said, blessed is he that enlargeth Gad. Right? Let's go into that. See what it is in the Hebrew. Let's see.
Strong's 87337. Rachav.
Right? To be or grow wide, right? To be or grow or large, be widened, be enlarged, right? They're trying to use the thing from Naphtali, but that's not what it's talking about. To make large, right? So it's to make Gad large, right? So when you got Gad being from here to here out of the northern kingdom, that's why Gad is large. It's grew. It's to be enlarged, to be wide, right? So it says and Gad, he said, blessed is he that enlargeth Gad, which who enlarges Gad? It was the Most High, ultimately. He dwelleth as a lion and teareth the arm with the crown of the head, right? Because Gad was known to scalp people, right? Gad was known to scalp people, right? And then when you deal with that, them being in the cliff castle, though there's a such thing called mountain lions, right? So they were like lions towards their enemies, and they would scalp their enemies, right? So it says and also they wore a feather upon their head for as far as a crown. Let's see what it, because it goes into the priestly thing, right?
Strong's H 6936. Code.
Code, head, crown, head, top of head, hairy crown, right? It's really talking about the feathers. They wore a crown, their crown, like the chief, his crown would be with feathers, right? Hair being in there, divided, separated. Okay. Yeah, basically, like I was saying, they had a feather crown, and then that actually goes back to priesting. So it says, and he provided the first part for himself, because they're in a position of the law giver, right? Because they were set up because of Rehoboam. Is it Rehoboam? No, Jeroboam. Jeroboam was the basically the Lord made him king of the northern kingdom, and then he was putting priests in those places because the Levites ultimately went over with them, and then later on the Levites left from the northern kingdom and went back to the southern kingdom, and so the Gadites end up being deemed the priest, or having that role of the priest or the lawgiver, right? Which is where you get the word chief from, because chief goes into the lawgiver, right? So this is a dictionary of the Bible themes. It says 7330 chief priest. 7330 chief priests, a group of individuals in charge of the temple worship in Jerusalem, right? So these talking about the priests that were what? They were ministers of what? Of the law of Yahweh Bashin Yahweh Shai, right? So they were in position of the the lawgiver, right? So the chief priest. So that's where you get the whole thing of Gad and their leader, or their so-called, what they would call it, which most people call a king, but they didn't put themselves in like a king position. They were more of just the chosen person to be the leader, or to be the head person to give what? The laws, right? So it says, was he sat and he came with the heads of the people, and he executed just of the law of Yahweh and his judgment with Israel, right? So that's why you got
This here's my new blockbuster. This is my daughter, Catherine. Shalom Alaikum, Jackson 2 Bears. Mr. Balloon, what's the use of saying Shalom Alaikum to me? I'm a full Sioux Indian. I'm not one of the chosen people. All right, go ahead, being stubborn if you want. Oh, I ain't stubborn. Oh, not much you ain't. Now, according to an ex-congressman of these United States, I heard give a lecture at the Chautauqua this winter. Injuns is the lost tribe of Israel, but he won't admit it. Just ain't true. He was an ex-congressman of these United States, I tell you.
Papa, maybe he was mistaken.
No, he was not.
Okay. All praise to Yahweh, Bashin, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Right? Yeah, so this is the Ancient Hebrew Research Center. So this is Ancient Hebrew Research Center. So remember that. This is the Los Lunas inscription, right? Because you just seen that on that video. And then it was showing how the guy was trying to explain to him that you're the lost tribe of Israel. Right? And he says this is by Jeff A. Binner, right? Which is a researcher. He's got to be intelligent, right? The Los Lunas inscription is very unique for several reasons. The first, it is written in an ancient Hebrew script. The second, it is located near a small town in Los Lunas in the state of New Mexico in the USA, which means United States of America. Like what? How is that? What? In the ancient Hebrew scripts in the USA? Dang, that is very unique, right? Because you got to think, people are not writing in that type of thing. It's ancient. Most people are not writing in that language. So that will classify as unique. And then even more, it's in a small town in Los Lunas in the state of New Mexico in the United States. Third, the inscription is of the 10 Commandments. Whoa. Huh? Yeah, like this one, the Back Creek stone right here. It says Cherokee or Hebrew. Right? The Back Creek cave stone, or Back Creek stone, was professionally, remind you, it was professionally excavated in 1889 from an undisturbed, so I mean it's been there for a very long time and no one has touched it. So it was an undisturbed burial mound in Eastern Tennessee. Remind you that. All right? So, I'm going to skip down to here. I'm just going to skip down to, it says the last Shemitic language scholar, which going into the last person who's supposed to look at it, because it said all these other people looked at it. They didn't either know what it was, or they knew, but they didn't really say, or whatever, however it goes. But this last guy, the last Shemitic, which is supposed to be Shum, not Shem, or however with an E. It's supposed to be with an A. It's supposed to be Shummetic, right? Or Shum. But they, scholar, was it Cyrus Gordon so like yeah, Gordon of 1971 A to 1971 B to 1972 confirmed that it is Semitic or Shummetic, should be Shum, right? And specifically Paleo-Hebrew, an undisturbed burial ground in Tennessee where the Cherokees live, right? Which basically that's what they were doing in that video. He was saying this guy's a Cherokee, and the guy was like, I'm not one of the people. He said, no, you're a Cherokee, and you're one of the lost tribes. But vocab will tell you that there's no such thing as the lost tribes. This is a very common thing about the 10 tribes being lost. Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, right? A troop, right? So you came in there with your troop and basically pushed them off the cliff to their death, and came up with some BS story like, oh yeah, they got scared and they just jumped off, right? Which is a complete total lie, because you said any blood would do. So so but the Lord said that since you hated not blood is going to pursue you, right? And to get a troop shall overcome him, right? So you overcame him, pushed him off the cliff, basically conquered him, got your so-called medals of honors, right? But he shall overcome at the last, man, and ultimately Gad is going to overcome at the last, man, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashin, man, those that repent and come back, man. Yeah, so this is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakal Kadash, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, which are you Edomites, right? You self-proclaimed white man, and prophesied against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakal Kadash, power. Behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. O Mount Seir, I am against thee. The Lord, the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakal Kadash, is against you, man. And I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And ultimately, that's what the Lord has plans for you, man. And there's no way around it. I will lie thy cities waste, right? Which is going to be what? Babylon the Great, which is America. And then, there's going to be places in so-called, what they call Europe, strategic places, even in the land of Israel, strategic places the Lord going to hit, and all these other places, because where you at? You in all the world. You know what I mean? And you got to think all the trash and the pollution and the Lord's going to use that fire as a cleansing agent in order to cleanse the world of evil, but also cleanse it of the pollution and the trash that because of you, there's all sorts of plastic everywhere, right? So it says, and lay thy cities waste, and thus shall be desolate, and thus shall know that I am Yahweh, right? You're going to know Yahweh Bashin, Yahweh Shai, man. You're going to know that through Yahweh, through his son, Yahweh Shai, who's going to have dominion over all things placed under him through Yahweh, right? That's Daniel's 7 and 10, something like that. But you go down, and it speaks how the Lord gives Yahweh Shai, or gives the Son the power over all things. You know what I mean? In Daniel 7. Because thus has had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel, right? And that's what you said. Any so-called, basically, you said red, but you're the one who's red. So technically, you were saying any Israelite will do. That's basically what you were saying. By the force of the sword, and the modern day sword is a gun. So back then they actually had probably swords, but they actually had those guns, the little muskets or whatever, and they shot them. And then the ones they didn't, they chopped them with the sword. That's why they said there were some injured, right? So it said, and by the force of the sword, in the time of their iniquity, in the time that in time of their calamities, like in time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, right? Because you want to basically further your kingdom, because we were coming into the place where we were, about to start understanding that we're the Israelites and all this other things. But then, of course, you wanted to bring in the heroin, the crack, the this and that, and you furthered the affliction, and it in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I liveth, right, because he's the only living power out there. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is the only living power, right? Right, through his son, is going to show you what's up, man. And Yahweh Shai and Yahweh is two different entities, and the Holy Spirit. It's all totally different things. It's not all inclusive in one. Just because they say they're all in one. No, if we all agree, then we're one because we agree. Aren't you one as a military? Because when the dude's out there, he's saying, I don't know, I'm just here to take orders. But you're going to get killed or bullet in your head or whatever happens to you in the name of whatever country you represent, in the name of those orders who came down from whoever. So those are one. Just like Yahweh Shai came down and died for the nation of Israel. He died, but the Most High didn't die. You're making it like the Most High can die. That's retarded, But it says, keep going, Salakia. Because that's just them lies. I'll say, therefore, as I live it, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, saith thus has not hated blood, since you don't hate blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right? Since you have not hated blood, blood is finna pursue you. Right? It says, thus will I make Mount Seir, right, which you Edomites, Esau, Edom, Mount Seir, most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth, right? Because a lot of you, where you at? You're around the world, right? So no matter where you roam, there's no place on the earth that an Edomite is going to be safe from the coming wrath of Yahweh Bashin Yahweh Shai. Because even when you go into your bunkers, the Lord said, I shall bring you out. Right? The Lord is going to bring you out of them bunkers. He's going to bring you out of the international space stations, and you're still finna go into slavery. Right? It says, and I will fill his mountains, since you went up to Cliff Castle, right? And killed children of Gad. The Lord said, I will make his mountains with his slain men, right? They're going to have your slain men in it. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. And that ultimate sword is going to be the ICBM missiles, man. This is Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18, right? Because overall you came against Gad, but the Lord said, what? Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. So at the end of this, Gad is going to overcome you through not just them, all 12 tribes are going to come against you, right? It says, verse 18, and the house of Jacob, right, which is the southern kingdom, right, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, shall be a fire, and Joseph, right, which is the northern kingdom, right, through Jeroboam, who became the king over the 10 tribes, right, which was an Ephraimite, right, but that was, because the blessing of Joseph went to Ephraim, Ephraim and Manasseh, but more primarily to Ephraim. And the house of Esau for stubble, right? That's you. You're the Edomites, you're Esau, and you're going to be stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh have spoken it, right? Because you basically was trying to push them off the cliff to get some get back from what David did to you guys, because David pushed Edomites off the cliff. But guess what? King David's coming back, right? So Isaiah chapter 31 verse 9, and he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, right? And his princes shall be afraid of the ensign shall be afraid of the ensign, saith Yahweh, right? Because what the Lord said that we should stand upon our feet an exceedingly great army standing upon our feet, and that ensign is what us prophesying in the four winds on the highways and the byways, and what Esau is being afraid, and he's gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that he got but a short time. But being that you're afraid, that's okay, because look, the end you're gonna get done, you're gonna get dealt with, I know you're afraid of the end sign, right? Of us standing up on the highways and the byways, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking our lives more now than ever, right? Saith Yahweh, whose fire is in Zion, right? And that's all 12 tribes, and his furnace in Jerusalem, right? It's dealing with all 12 tribes and what we're going to kindle and devour the Edomites according to what the Most High says, not according to your guns, not according to your drugs, not according to your monetary system, which is going to be digital, the digital all. No, by what? By the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashin Yahweh Shai. So all praises, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold, because that's what's important, to come back into the fold. Shalom if you're back into the fold. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband and under your spiritual leader, and has come back to the fold, right? Hey, Shalom, hey, and death to America.